Alright, let's get into some Lego Pokemon. In the High-Lug Gym, the first Pokemon I've made. Before this gym, like maybe a year ago, is this Star-Bellied Sneech, this Buizel. And I thought I could make another one, and then, the other day, I made this. I came up with this eye design, and I looked around and I said, wow, some other people are making some great Pokemon. Maybe I can use their style of building. And so I used some of these rounder parts that Brickmill Studios likes to make, or use, sorry. And I came up with this, Floatzel. And using the more rounder bricks and studying this style more, I came up with this Buneary. Still using this rounded 2x2 or 1x2 plate. I've always wanted to build something like this with this cloud piece, but I couldn't come up with it. Finally came up with it, so here it is. We have a Brickmill Mew in dark azure. I just recolored. Brickmill Studios Mew design, but using the same 1x2 rounded tile, or what is it? It's not a tile, it's a plate, as the eyes. And I was fine, and everything was cool. I took this to a show, and it was great. And I came back home, and I just exploded, and I started building way more than I should have. Here, in no particular order, a Relicanth and a feebas in a fish tank with some crustals. And there's a whole bunch of them. So I made the feebas, debating whether to make the Milotic, and I finally did make the Milotic. And I had extra parts from a bunch of Speed Racer sets, and so I used a whole bunch of those pieces in these. This is something I came up with on my own. There's another one of these out there, another Milotic, but nothing in the scale. So I think this is my own idea creation. Something else. This is, I cannot remember where I saw a Paras that looked like this, but I decided to build one with this mouth design, and I think this looks pretty good. And I found someone's parasect mock, and so I decided to make my own with updated pieces. But before I made these, I made this Genesect, and this inspired these because I heard that this is the same Pokemon as these. And people say that maybe this canon, this whole thing, was added to this Pokemon by scientists, but I think that just this part was added, and this is still the mushroom. So it's definitely the same Pokemon, and I'll show you how I close it up. That part is on this whole thing is only held on by one stud, so in this configuration it's very temperamental, and so you have to flip this peg around, or this axle, close it down. It fits nicely in there. Close up the head. Then you add the stand, and this is how I normally display it because it's so, it's like a nightmare. It's like time consuming to very, very temperamental model. Or figure. Whatever you want to call it. So I saw someone's shelter. I decided to make a Kabuto. That was pretty good. So I made this Kabutops. The shiny Kabutops. And I used someone else's eye design with these dots and a slope, but I used a different slope, smaller, and it came out pretty good. And he's got some insane motion in this figure. I don't really care about the floating neck syndrome some of these figures have. I care more about, like, if a kid is going to pick it up and play with it, how it's going to feel, how it's going to look, how can you display it, that it can show the most amount of motion in it. And so some of these have floating necks, but this one doesn't. This is a Krogunk because I like frogs. I also like fossils, so I made another fossil Pokemon. And I had this Pokemon in Pokemon Ranger. And so I also built whoa. Okay, hold on. Let me clear this off. I don't know what's going on, but my camera is all messing up. But we have a gimmieghoul here, and Kamala, also Alolan, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name, Alolan Meowth, that's based on my cat, my real cat. And then we have a Golurk that I made for someone on Reddit who asked me to make a Golurk. And so, keeping with the fossil theme, we've got cranidos and rampardos. And this one is pretty... You can position it, it will fall apart on you. We also have Toxel here. And following like the 1-2 like dragon type Pokemon. We also have Toxtricity, and I made my own version, so probably sounds like a steel guitar, like a Hawaiian steel guitar. And so we also have this Rotom Pokedex build. And I saw this and I had to make it the correct way because its arms fold back up and its legs fold in. There you go. Yes, some of these have butts. I don't care. Look, it's a Rotom with a butt. Okay. Ha 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 ha. I think it's funny because we have to look at it from this side. And the kids and parents and Pokemon Go people and everyone on the planet gets to look at it from this side. So we gotta have some fun sometimes. There's also this camera up. I'm not the first person to come up with this camera up design. Someone else made something like this using pieces kind of like this, and I based mine off of that, and sacrificing the perfectly curved part of this to make this. I think I succeeded in what I wanted to do, but this is not based on just myself, nor is this Numal, but it is my own version that I made. Then we've got the Chibi Deoxys, and I made this solely to brush this camera up, just like so. And I probably will make a Rayquaza at some point, but I'll probably be friends. So, who knows? Oh, also, like the Rotom, we've got some stuff that's not really like a Pokemon, but it's made for Pokemon builds, and these are some moves. Water, I don't know, some water thing and a mind thing. Pretty cool. And this rock. I also have a broken, a Z-ring, a broken Z-ring with some more Z crystals. I think these are fun, but these things cost me so much. Don't ask. I don't care. I probably will fix it in the future. But now we move on to something really interesting. Before we get into the legendary and pseudo-legendary Pokemon, we've got some smaller builds. And this is something I came up with. It's a nosepas that looks like a stone lantern, like in a garden. And so he chills out with this huge Alolan Executor. And so here we have a minifigure. And these are pretty big. So I haven't made a figure yet, but I will in the future. But we have the pink gang here, made with all pink as well. We have a shiny aipom, and I might do this in what is it, lavender, if I can get the parts, but I think it's pretty cute. I was watching a documentary, and then I saw a monkey, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need a monkey in my team. So I made that. And we also have Bewear. But my Bewear is pretty cool. And terrestrialized Ditto with a little crystal on the top. So this thing can sit, it can move its waist, move its head, and this is the floating head syndrome. But with the floating head, you can get like really crazy like poses. So you could be like barking like this. But that's kind of weird. But he just sits like this in my collection. So I've already showed like maybe 2 pseudo-legendary Pokemons, which are like Rampardos and Milotic. But here we have a Jangmo, I think. So I asked my friend what his favorite Pokemon was, and this is what he asked me for. And so I made him one, and I made me one, and I made I also made this Kabuto, which is like 10 times bigger, maybe 5 times bigger. Three times bigger, 2.5. And it's amazing. This thing, just like my Rampardos, its mouth can open up, but it is like flat, so nothing that I can do about that. And with this, there's also this Pokemon, which is in maybe a completely different scale, or maybe the same scale. Who knows? But this is Tapu Koko, the legendary Pokemon, or legendary mythical. And it can also take it out of its stand very often, or the head position. So there's Tapu Koko. Made using an eye design from Brickmill. Probably the most annoying Pokemon to design and build. Tapu Koko. We have, well, maybe I'll get to this one first. Yeah, we've got this Wailmer. And I saw someone else's, or no, this is a wailord. And so I saw someone else's wailord, and I thought this would be cool to have a bunch of figures on top of the wailord, because you can display them in front and on the top, because space is limited at these shows. So I made this. This is probably my largest model, but for my final model, I've got this legendary Ho-Oh, this black Ho-Oh, based off of a Hawaiian bird, and its name is Hikilepu, which means 70 thunders in Hawaiian. It's interesting. If I can get all of these. Parts unfurled. Out of its sitting position, it can stand up. So, we back up a little bit. There we go. So these are all the legendary Pokemon that I got currently right now. The large builds. I like to see it sit. I think it's fun. This is sort of my own legendary, so it's got a different tail design with like these things, but the whole idea was that it could sit down and just look pretty. As a large legendary Pokemon should. And so it just kind of cutely sits there, and that's it. That's all my Pokemon, so I hope you liked it. It was a lot. I'm making more, so yeah. Oops. If you've made it this far into the video, I guess you get a little treat. So here's a Swablu that I forgot to show, and a black rampardos. And he sits pretty cutely. So I think they're adorable. Well, I guess that's it.